Come on, dude. It's okay. There you go. There you go. It's all right. All right. Let's get this show on the road. Right. Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of the best hair. And it's time to review another movie. I'm really not used to doing them so quickly anymore. What the heck am I going to watch? Okay, let's check my Prime Video recommendations. Now I don't want to watch Wicked. Scroll. Aha, here we go. Popeye the Slayer Man. One of those happy little horror movies based around beloved cartoon characters because they fall into the public domain and stuff like this is legal. All while having very little surface level respect for the original source material, just to kind of throw together a film that by its own merits no one would even bother watching. Like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Or Wicked. Anywho, what is Popeye the Slayer Man? Simple as can be, an old dark house tale where the monster that stalks the shadows and slaughters teenagers is none other than our favorite spinach-munchin' sailor man Popeye, brutally killing people left and right, because it's a horror movie. If anything, it got me to watch it. So, let's take a look at Popeye the Slayer Man and see if it was a decent adaptation. Or mutilation, same difference these days. The movie opens, as you probably expect a horror movie at this point, at night, at a strange and spooky location. We see a lone woman fleeing for her life, but oh darn it, the door to this dark, foreboding, intimidating, and terrifying building is locked. Fortunately, it was a master lock, so the location was about as secure as the PlayStation Network. But what's this? She is being pursued by two ne'er-do-wells.
We see you! You're not gonna get away from us!
Who are very upset at her because she did something. They don't really explain it right now, but they'll get to it. More importantly, his cohort is not keen on entering this, the lair of the Sailor Man.
So you're afraid of ghosts now? Come on!
Which kind of confuses me because the legend of the Sailor Man is well known in these parts, is established in this movie. Everyone talks about him and absolutely never refer to him being a ghost or supernatural in the slightest. He's a serial killer who hangs around these parts and murders people, but for some reason everyone is always like, it's a ghost story. I thought those involved ghosts. After they chase her down and let her run some more, they corner her again, and we finally learn why the hell this is even happening in the first place.
You think you just steal coke from us and just walk away?
I mean, the bottle said share coke with Adrian. I thought it was okay. Either that or booger sugar, doesn't really matter anyway, as they want even more from her than the product. And very fortunately, that means they suddenly notice another who sees them from the shadows.
This ain't your business. You best get the hell out of here. Or else you next.
But maybe next time you threaten someone, you could try and make sure it's not a man whose forearms are the size of kegs. Goddamn, someone specced into the bloody mess perk. Adidas Man recognizes the Sailor Man must be the Sailor Man, so decides, fuck it, I could threaten this woman. That should keep me alive. But the Sailor Man grabs his head and squeezes it like a gusher, spewing brains and blood everywhere.
You're a monster.
Oh yeah. What? Oh yeah.
I don't know, it doesn't really sound like Popeye to me without at least a little. So he kills her too. Probably. Scene transition, don't see, but we don't really need any reason yet to think otherwise. Point is, it's time to introduce the important characters. Dexter, played by Sean Michael Conway, as he meets up with a friend, Lisa, played by Marie-Louise Beauchenier.
What the hell is all this stuff for?
It's the equipment I checked out for my documentary.
Oh, is this that Pirate Man thing you were going on about in class?
Sailor Man.
The little guy bringing in all the film equipment to ensure that this movie has at least some found footage flavor to it. Great! This scene helps establish very quickly two incredibly important things about this movie.
What if I deferred pay you? Would you do the documentary?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds a little lame.
I'm just saying, I could pay you a lot of money in like 2 years or something.
Number one, the sound mixing is really rough. And number two, the acting is about the same quality. But hey, it's about time to introduce Olivia, played by Elena Giuliano, who, unlike Lisa, requires no convincing to join Dexter in his documentary delve. She is very interested in this so-called Sailor Man.
They say he's still out there roaming the old docks, searching for something.
Or someone.
Or somewhere. Or some witch. Lisa still needs convincing though, so Dex is like, hey, what if I told you that Seth, played by Jeff Thomas, is also coming? You know, that big old rod you've been dying to jump on top of.
This pirate man is real. Maybe Seth can protect me.
Sailor Man!
But another thing that's kind of bothering me here is just the color grading. It's very common, it's common practice, it's standard in a movie, that they mess with the color saturation a bit, especially in horror. You get a lot of desaturation going on here, but the desaturation is so strong and the blue shift so great, it can't just be me. All these people look like walking corpses, don't they? I mean, this kind of gives me Romance in the Morgue vibes, which, to be fair, is definitely a movie I would watch, but I'm here for Popeye. On that note, let's hop right back to the old canning factory and introduce a couple more characters. Margot, played by Angela Reluccio, whom shows up here to meet up with Lex Alistair, played by Richard Lunello.
So what's the purpose of needing to meet with me?
Well, as you know, my clients have drawn up plans to demolish this site for the new construction project once the deal closes.
That doesn't answer the question. The fuck you gotta be in person at the site for? Chalk this one up for this meeting could have been an email. But how are you supposed to squeeze a massive exposition dump into an email? They're building condos. This warehouse has been shut down for 2 decades, and they've effectively been using it as a tax write-off. Oh, and this.
That contamination report that you disclosed in a sales agreement did raise some concerns.
Kinda sorta has a little history of contaminated food products and toxic canning stuff. It's not a problem because it's been covered up. Except for all of the reports where it clearly wasn't covered up. Except it was covered up, depending on the scene it comes up in. And of course there's the urban legends.
The charming stories circulating about this place and this so-called Sailor Man.
I don't believe in ghost stories, Ms. Harrigan.
Well, the story is just a crazy guy murdering people. Spare me your tales of supernatural phantasms! But what's this?
Is that pipe smoke?
Awful specific. I think it's more the material being burnt than the container itself that makes the smell. This is like... what is it? Crack pipe! Wait. No, that is a Coke can carved into a crack pipe. Or Fanta. Smelling this, Lex heads off to investigate, telling Margot to wait. So, of course, she walks off instead and hears strange noises. Frightened, she doesn't just turn around and head out the door right fucking there, but instead finds a dark corner to hide in. But there is someone there.
Oh my god. Oh.
What the hell is going on?
What the hell, lady? Angus, played by Scott Swope. For wanting to keep this all under wraps, Lex was sure to invite as many people as possible for this secret meeting. She decides to head back to his office so they can sign the papers, which is where they should have been this whole time, but whatevs. Lex can tell Angus this.
Do a full sweep of the building. Think there may be a vagrant hiding out in here. When you find him, get rid of him.
Again, an order that could have been given remotely and wouldn't require all this trouble. And probably should involve more than one goon, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Angus makes his rounds, picking up a handy-dandy wrench and taunting as he goes, before he hears water running from within the men's room. Therefore...
Have it your way!
he discovers the dead bodies of the assholes from the opening! But not the woman, so the jury's still out on exactly what happened to her. But we know what happens to Angus over here. He runs into the Sailor Man.
All right.
The man's built like a super mutant. You don't find that the least bit intimidating? Maybe Angus is just dumb, because guess what? The massive amount of muscle murders the fuck out of him!
Son of a bitch.
The whole time he doesn't seem shocked or surprised at all, just mildly annoyed. Oh, right, we got that student project plot going on. Dex heads to the tavern to collect Katie, played by Mabel Thomas, who is just about to finish her shift.
I can't believe you let this guy drag you into this.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. I'm curious, about all the stories.
Yeah, they call him the Sailor Man, but there are episodes where he's a carpenter. Or a plumber. In fact, it gets really hard to find one where he's even a sailor, so what's that even about? But what's this? Katie's arm is hurt. How could this be? Well, let's introduce her incredibly assholic, abusive as fuck boyfriend, Joey, played by Stephen McCormick, as well as his henchman, Jesse, played by Clayton Turner, and Terry, played by Paul Kanye.
Can you please tell them to not sexually harass my new friend with their eyes?
With their eyes? Lady, they were doing that with their invasion of personal space and constant advances. Who gives a fuck about their eyes? Joey's got more pertinent concerns, however.
Are you sure you told me that was tonight, babe? I think I would have remembered if some ratbag, homo-repressed dipshit was trying to spend the night with my girl.
Oh, you think Joey's a bad guy? I don't know, the hints are really subtle here.
Tell me, you trying to fuck my girl, you little shitstain?
No, definitely not.
Joey, if Dex is such a pathetic little loser man noodle arms, and you are Chad McHuge penis, why are you so concerned that he's gonna steal your girl?
Please, don't make a scene at my job, okay?
I'm just looking out for what's mine.
So does he have any positive characteristics? Because even abusive assholes tend to at least have the facade of pleasantries, especially in public. The worst of all, he says he will call later. Truly demonic. Anyway, they arrive, talk shit about Joey. Olivia spots someone in the window, and they try to get in.
Did you actually think it would just be open?
Would have been helpful.
Hey, if you're not up for some B&E, are you really independent filmmakers? Don't worry though, Olivia just so happens to be a master of unlocking. Not enough to realize you can just whack a master lock, but enough to pick it and grant them access inside. But wait! Katie has a call from Joey. So, fuck it, not answering that one.
She sent me the fucking voicemail.
That's not right. She's probably grinding with that Dexter guy right now.
The genius or the serial killer, I get confused. Jesse says there's no way that Katie went to the docks on some film project. Surely that was a lie, and she's cheating on him. Terry's more interested in the legendary Sailor Man.
I heard he could take 10 minutes.
Yeah, sounds like your ex.
Actually, sounds more like your mom.
But I repeat myself.
Just shut up! I want some stupid ghost story.
He's not a ghost.
That's what I keep saying. The legend is a serial killer vagrant on the loose. There's absolutely nothing ghost-like about that. Don't worry. This is just Bernie, played by Doug Decker, spouting off lines for the trailer.
And if you trespass in his home, he'll gut you like an old car.
Or crush your skull. Or rip you in half. Slasher villains are so creative. Jesse's not dropping it, though. The old canning factory story is clearly a lie.
Let's go down there. Catch her in the act.
So we're gonna go down to the old canning factory to prove that she is not at the old canning factory. And once at the old canning factory, we find her at the old canning factory, we'll tell her, hey, ain't you supposed to be at the old canning factory? Imagine the look on her face. Anywho, how are things down at the old canning factory?
So, when did this place close down? Almost 20 years ago.
Right, still establishing things we already knew.
Does anyone have the Wi-Fi password?
And things that make absolutely no fucking sense. You really expect this canning factory from the mid-2000s to have Wi-Fi? They would have to have bleeding edge tech at that point. And even if by some miracle they did, do you really think this place has been shut down for 2 decades, has power?
Found power here.
What the fuck? Dexter says, hey gang, it's time to split up so we can solve this mystery.
You did not just say split up in an abandoned factory supposedly haunted by a murderous ghost?
Serial killer. Flesh and blood, not ectoplasm. Thus, Lisa and Seth head off in one direction, and Katie is tasked with observing the monitors. Dexter and Olivia form the other away party. Along their path, Seth and Lisa discover old discarded spinach cans. The smell is absolutely abhorrent. But what's this? It is rolling back to them. No bother. Must have been the random birds. There's no such thing as a Sailor Man. Jeez, now I'm wondering where he's getting his tobacco. I mean, the spinach makes sense. Big factory, one man. The cans could probably last him a while. But when he needs some more smokes, does he just pop down to the local 7-Eleven?
She is a genius.
I wouldn't say genius.
Oh, wonderful, we reached the found footage section of the movie. Mercifully, this is incredibly short. So much so it feels wrong to even say this film has a found footage aspect to it. Something I appreciate because, while it may have been a creative angle to explore, I fucking hate found footage. There must have been a plan at some point for that to be one of the pillars of the movie, though, considering our intrepid filmmaker spends a good amount of time at the setup literally setting up trail cameras in the factory. Which would make sense in a found footage style film where they are setting up cameras to then have this mysterious legendary killer stalking around the hallways that they might catch, but with a documentary about a abandoned and shut down factory, what exactly are they expecting to catch on those trail cameras? Their asses trespassing? Katie's at the monitor, but it's not like she's actually watching the feed, so the Sailor Man walking around, goes completely unnoticed. But wait! Remember that unimportant looking piece of paper the camera panned too long enough to let us know it was important? Well, it turns out it was important, and Margot has returned to get them. Why?
Let's get you signed. Then we can bulldoze the shit out of this place.
It just so happens to be the very important thing that she needed to have signed by Alex last time she was here. Which means she should have tried to do that and really would have noticed it was missing a lot sooner than now. But she didn't even get it signed, so it's actually not that important. I mean, if it was signed, yeah, we need to get that back. It's the proof of signature and all, but otherwise, she could just print out another one. But that wouldn't put her in the sights of the Sailor Man, who does not like hearing plans for his home to be destroyed. So he chases her, and she almost escapes, but her hair was just through the door, and he grabs it, ripping her scalp clean off. Which is not really how it would work. I mean, it hurts. He'd tear out a lot of her hair, but not the whole dang scalp. Not with that little hair, anyway. But this puts her in a dreadful situation, at the mercy of the Sailor Man. Don't worry, he's not gonna kill her. This big-ass box crusher, though, that'll kill her. But if this place just has power, then why don't they turn the lights on? It would make it a lot easier to find their way around. In the meantime, Dex and Olivia are digging through old records and invoices. I guess they forgot about that whole setting up cameras thing, and didn't even notice the screaming and crunching echoing down the hallways. More importantly...
Sure you have plenty of friends from your last school or high school?
I didn't finish high school.
And how does this mean that while you were there you did not have friends? Nah, she got something better. A GED. Just par for the course when you're being ping-ponged around the foster system, I guess.
What made you move back?
Some stuff came up about my real family. Things that needed to be taken care of.
Hey, family is nice and all, but Texas is Texas. Family and school projects are great, but Dex tries asking her to dinner. And, well...
I just need to take everything that's new slowly, okay?
She tells him fuck no.
Just one step at a time.
In no uncertain terms.
Still trying to find my place in this world.
All right, lady, his heart's been torn out and used as a hacky sack. You can stop now.
Give me some time.
Olivia, do like a drug PSA and just say no. How much time does she need? About 30 seconds. After they discover a locked cabinet, which Olivia has no problem popping open, and pages after pages detailing the horrifying contamination controversy that befell this canning facility. Not only that, a cover-up of the truth.
Sundance, here we come. What?
You know, you're kind of cute when you get excited.
You should see me when I piss my pants. Before they can get hot and heavy, oh, would you look at that? The friends show up to interrupt. No bother. Gives them the time to notice the weird smell.
Smoke? Like, from a pipe?
And I just gotta ask, how the hell do you recognize that? I mean, I do. I'm a millennial, and my grandfather did smoke a pipe where I could smell it. He was literally the only man in my life to ever do that. How the hell are you 20-somethings born in the mid-2000s this familiar with what pipe smoke smells like? Thus, they all decide to say fuck it and leave. Either that or they're investigating the smell, but they sure are going an awful damn distance to check some stank down the hall. In any case, they eventually encounter a rhyme on the walls. When you smell the smoke from his pipe is near, he will kill you if you show fear. He gets his strength from a spinach can. He is Popeye the Sailor Man.
Every kid that's grown up in this town knows that rhyme.
Really? Growing up, I was always more familiar with I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I live in a frying pan. I stepped on the gas and burned off my ass. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I am setting up a trail cam.
Oh, right, the cameras. They were supposed to be setting those up occasionally. And the only reason they'd bring it up now is if it's in dire importance to the plot. So Katie gets up to grab a coffee right when Popeye shows up to stare at the monitors and all the damn college students crawling around his warehouse. No, Popeye, stop, don't ask Grok for anything. So she must run, fleeing from the Sailor Man. Who should she just so happen to run into but her stupid abusive boyfriend, who came to the docks sure she was not at the docks on some student project about some Sailor Man, and now finding her at the docks, not having sex, running for her life, screaming with her clothes on.
Please, we have to call for help.
You're not calling anyone.
He assumes she is in fact cheating on him elsewhere with the Invisible Man. His only traits are stupid and abusive, so it shouldn't be too surprising that even when Popeye arrives, he is still incredibly stupid about this.
Who the fuck is this guy?
There's a legend that everyone in this town, including you, are supposed to already know, and the fact that this is the very subject of the student project she told you she was coming down here to investigate. And there's also that close friend of yours who was literally on camera telling you about this guy multiple times tonight.
Let's find out if a ghost can bleed.
He's not a ghost. Was this script cobbled together from another completely unrelated horror script where the monster was a legendary ghost? Because they keep insisting on this ghost shit and it makes no sense. So he stabs him. It's not very effective. However, Popeye uses grab a motherfucker by the head and crush his brains before giving him the ultimate twist.
Is that Katie?
Oh, now you hear the horrified screaming. I guess all those other victims were just whisper screaming. Guys, you do realize that guns are ranged weapons, right? You don't need to stick it up his nose. Disarmed, he decides to say fuck it and leave, as does Joey, leaving Katie to her fate. Even worse, the group of college students decided to check Katie's station and not, the direction the scream came from. No bother. Dex says they need to split up, because if you're going to do anything, do it as stupidly as possible. On that note, Terry decides to not only abandon everyone, but lock them in to allow him to escape. But wouldn't you know it? Silly horror movie character. Locks don't work on slasher villains. They can teleport. So he runs. Yes, down the road, but don't worry. He is sure to run into the warehouse lot, because, it's like running up the stairs. Sure, you gotta escape, but only in the direction you can't escape from. Thus, it should come as no surprise he finds himself literally on the docks with absolutely nowhere to go, as Popeye slow walks up to him with an anchor.
Anchors, away.
What I wouldn't give for some real Popeye-inspired one-liners here. I order the caffeinate. Lisa and Seth find the body of Jesse, though, so at least that explains the screaming.
Is he dead?
Nah, babe, I always relax covered in blood with my head on backwards. So they decide to say fuck it and leave, while Joey runs around with a gun, terrified of the Sailor Man. He will end his seafaring days once and for all.
Okay, fuck.
Well, at least their relationship hasn't changed. Also, hey, now the gun's jammed, so he decides to just leave her to her fate. Again.
That sounded like Katie again.
I can't hear the fighting, the running, the gunshots, but man, Katie's got some lungs on her. Seth says their best plan is still to just say fuck it and leave. But oh darn it, he locked the door! Guess the only way to get out is to call for help on the roof, where they might be able to get a signal. Just ignore how Katie was using her phone just fine in the office several scenes ago. This place is Schrodinger's dead zone.
It's him.
Holy shit.
Oh no! What do they intend to do now?
Okay, let's go.
Well, that was easy. So let's make the next step of the plan needlessly hard. Why take the path to the roof when you could just try to reach some dangerous beams that are clearly too far away to grab? Oh, right, the extremely obvious thing that clearly is going to happen. Of course. And now his foot is bound up in netting. But as he shakes it, Reba threatens to drop on him. But wait! First, they gotta kiss. Then the rebar can drop and kill him. So she screams and runs, leaving him to die all alone. That's much darker than I was anticipating. If you think that's bad, wait till you get a load of this. Joey is still here.
Sailor Man is real. He killed Seth.
No. Seth killed Seth. Just because he saw Popeye shortly before that doesn't mean it's his fault. No bother. His plan is to go off and shoot the Sailor Man.
You're just gonna leave me here?
Every man for themselves.
Motherfucker, you approached her in this scene. If you don't want to talk to people, then stop striking up conversations. So Lisa is all alone. Again. And runs into the Sailor Man. Again. And so she flees, trying to reach the roof. But how? Well, why not take the path that Seth took to attempt to reach the unreachable beams? Again. Dying from falling and being impaled by rebar. Again! Dex and Olivia have had a far less action-packed search, instead finding the secret lair of the Sailor Man, complete with family heirlooms.
Olive oil. His wife's name. She must have worked here.
Are you sure they were married? I mean, Oil is her maiden name. Now she would be Olive the Sailor Man. But what's this? It turns out she was a whistleblower on the contaminated spinach story, and they did something nefarious to keep her quiet. Not quiet enough for the whistleblower story to not appear in the newspapers as needed for the newspaper clippings, which it was established this newspaper is owned by the same company who owns the factory, which is why they were able to do the cover-up. But please just ignore all logic for this scene. They muse the sailor has been down here for years, wondering what happened to Olive. But wait!
Do you smell that?
Pipe smoke.
Having a slasher villain with some kind of telltale sign does work. It helps to build like suspense and foreboding, and dread when a little tiny subtle hint suddenly becomes a dire warning. But you see, the problem is this is a movie. It works with visuals, sound, and the passage of time. Smell-o-vision does not exist. Quickly they hide and observe the secrets of the Sailor Man. Seems he misses his family and eats the contaminated spinach. So, nothing new revealed. Wonderful. So, new plan.
We have to find the others and get out of here.
Say fuck it and leave. Easier said than done, though, as the Shishka bestie isn't going anywhere. And at least these two don't try that path to escape, instead discovering a conveyor belt that Olivia muses might be what the Sailor Man used to get in and out of the facility. But it turns out, he actually uses this door!
Let him go!
Man, all these years and no one ever thought to scream, "Please don't kill me"? Closing the door on his ass, she drags Dex to safety and seeks to do something about his broken-as-fuck arm as quickly as possible. First, gotta distract him.
Have I ever told you I thought you were cute?
Yeah, a few scenes ago when you found those incriminating documents and you started jumping up and down like a kid on Christmas morning who just opened a Nintendo 64. You're screaming and crying with your limbs going the wrong way, though. Somewhat less attractive. But he's getting a little suspicious of old Olivia here. Like, hey, why did he listen to you? Isn't he some kind of crazy serial killer?
You don't know me, Dexter. You don't know anything about me.
I wouldn't say that. You've been an open book all movie. It's been pretty easy to pick up on the hints if you're paying attention. I mean, it's not the most egregious lack of subtlety I've seen in horror, but it's pretty easy to figure out. Anyway, still gotta get the hell out of here.
Not much further now.
Oh shit!
Maybe you could try a direction that isn't littered with spinach cans. Just a thought. Olivia has another plan, an olive branch, revealing that the Sailor Man is in fact her father.
My sweet.
And we had to add that gunshot in there because I doubt that revelation was shocking at all to any of you. So Popeye just leaves, and Joey gives his villain rant. He will kill the Sailor Man. Fuck all this talk about him being good and human. He's good and dead. Dex is like, hey, let's just get the hell out of here.
I'm sorry, Dexter. No one else is dying tonight.
Oh, bullshit. Joey obviously isn't gonna make it. Thus, in between bouts of Olivia pleading for Popeye to kick the contaminated spinach habit and help her to find Mom, Joey keeps fucking things up by attacking the super mutant, despite only putting points in douchebaggery and a perk in leaps of logic.
I heard what you said before. He's your daddy. Huh? Is that why you brought all these people here? So we could kill them?
It was Dex's project. He's the one that brought everyone here. Olivia was simply the only character who didn't need convincing. Anyway, she gets away, drags Dex to safety, and Popeye tears Joey's arm off and beats the shit out of him with it. Therefore, happy ending. No, not everyone is dead. Look, it turns out Katie was just out of frame, simply waiting for Joey to fucking die already. But the warehouse stands, the location of olive oil still unknown, and Popeye on the loose.
Get your filthy paws off me, you freak! I am what I am.
But only killing the people who really deserve it. It just so happens that in horror movies that's like over 90% of the population. But it's a miracle Dex made it. Anyway, that was Popeye the Slayer Man. You know what you're getting yourself into with public domain classics turned into horror movies. Low-budget indie productions trying to capitalize on a recognizable name in order to signal boost their film that otherwise it's doubtful anyone would watch, and Popeye the Slayer Man is mostly that. There are several things that seem to paint another picture, though. The clear preparation for your traditional found footage film, coupled with this mismatched insistence on referring to the Sailor Man as a ghost throughout the movie, really led me to believe that this is one of those scripts that was previously a completely different movie, then got reworked into something more marketable. Out of the summer of Hellraiser, I got a sense of these things. Unfortunately, that means it really is just a generic horror flick with the main baddie swapped out for Popeye. Literally, that's the DNA of the film. We have a horror movie, and now it's Popeye. Then it becomes a measure of overall quality. The cinematography is at least not found footage, thank God, and the makeup for Popeye is good enough, though it does feel like it should have stuck to the shadows a bit more than it does. The acting, though, is pretty subpar, and it feels worse due to the poor audio mixing in this film. You can just hear when certain clips end and others begin, and I can imagine the movie in an editor playing before me. Maybe that's a me problem. Overall, Popeye the Slayer Man is simply a basic low-budget slasher, but it's got Popeye. It does do a little with the concept, and the hints that Olivia was Sweet Pea were plentiful enough to figure out, but surprisingly not quite as sledgehammer over the head subtle as certain films I've watched. And for fans of indie horror, it ain't bad, coming in at 2 convenient anchors out of 5. Now, when I think of Popeye as a slasher villain, I really imagine more Freddy Krueger-esque style, where he's doing witty quips and then pulling out impossible nightmare scenarios to kill teenagers. Ah, crap, now I want to watch that movie. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Decker Shado. And remember, the concept that spinach was a superfood loaded with iron was actually because of a little misprint where they put the decimal point in the wrong place. But that kind of led to this revelation.
Look, I told you, we don't sell cheeseburgers here on IOUs. Get out of here.